Buddy, I'm Doug LaFleur. I'm the president of IDEX. Real pleased to do this webinar, to have Sam Ewing help us out, and also Jill Ansel. It's updates on title funding for K-12 purchasers. There's been some nice updates on that, and you probably won't find anybody that's more up to date on it than Sam in the state of Michigan, or probably the country. So just a thrill for us to have him. Jill was kind enough to get on here as well. She's been through the process and been, I guess, what you would call pre-approved with IDEX. We've had other people get approved as well. So we thought, what better way to do this than at least show you what's available out there and let you kind of speak to the experts. And then I've got Chris Stevens on here too. Chris was a former superintendent, is a director of client services for us. And Chris will be here to kind of help. He'll watch the questions as they come in, and we'll see if we have some questions at the end. So if you have questions while you go through this, you can just kind of type them in, and we'll be kind of monitoring that as we go. So with that said, I think I'd like to kind of hand it off to you, Sam, and you'll kind of walk us through your what you put together.
Okay, yeah, a couple of things. I'm gonna share a PowerPoint with you, which will be available for you to have. But also in the PowerPoint, I embedded some links, because what I'm going to be trying to tell you today is what's accurate as of today. It could be changing as we speak. That's all I can say. But I met with some folks and updated some things today. So I'm going to open my PowerPoint, and if I can figure out how to get it to you guys. I should be able to share my screen. Oh, I'm having problems here, guys. Just a sec. I need to share my screen, and I can't. I got to move stuff out of the way so I can get at it. Can't get at it yet. Just a second. That's one of these things. You need a bigger screen. Share the screen. Okay, here we go. It's this one. So I'm going to go away, and the screen. Hopefully, the screen will come up. Okay. Can you see my PowerPoint,
Yep,
everybody?
we can, Sam. That's
great. Kind of as big as I can so you can see it. Just quick, a little contact information for you and what's there. And then, what's going on here? It won't let me. Oh, okay. Just a second here. It's not letting me move my slides. We had it working just a little bit ago. That looks better. Okay, I put in some key resources. Some of you may be familiar with these, but these are really critical ones. The first one is which used to be called Office of Field Services. It's now Office of Educational Support. You really, that's the link that gets you to all the information about the various title programs, 31A and so on, things. In fact, they updated some of the documents yesterday that I had pulled, so that's where it is. That's a good source for you. Second source is our state organization website. Our web person and executive director have been pulling key documents and posting them at our website all in one spot. So if you go to that website and then click on the Documents tab, you will see a list on the right-hand side of current documents that have been posted. That would be helpful. And then the other one that I added because of the ESSER funds, or better known CARES ESSER funds, are at the head page for the Michigan Department of Ed. And if you go to that page, you'll see a bunch of graphics, about 6 of them. One of them is guidance memos for COVID-19. That's where you're going to find all the information about the CARES and the ESSER funds. And hopefully that's also where you will see the information about the CARES gear funds. We haven't seen anything about those gear funds yet, but it's in the governor's office. We'll see what happens. For those of you that are familiar with title programs, all your title programs go to the Office of Educational Supports, and depending on what it is, it goes to one of the offices within there for review. However, The ESSER funds do not go to that office. They actually go to the financial management office at MDE. And after talking with some folks this morning, they already have their ESSER funds approved. They were talking about turnaround times from application to approval of 3 to 5 days. So just so you're aware of that, that's out there. And to be honest, that is the place where you have the most flexibility, okay? I threw this in just so you'd have it. It's buried out there someplace, but this goes over the various title funds that are in Office of Educational Support. And basically, if you look down the left side are the various categories that you can have. And then across the top are the various programs. And then within the boxes, it says whether or not you can utilize the funds to do those things. So for example, depending on how you're going to use IDEX, it could go in administrative cost if it fits within the framework of what you're doing. It could also, again, depending on how you're doing it, if you're doing extended day or extending year services and you're going to use IDEX to help you keep some information about kids and about how their progress is and those kinds of things, it's possible it could go there. And then, of course, one of the things that I've recommended with it is you may want to make sure that you get the right professional learning. And almost all these programs allow you to do professional learning around something that you have. And then, again, programs, materials, and supplies. That's another place that it's possible, again, depending on what your particular need is. And I think some folks are going to be able to take a look at that at a later time. And Jill, I hope, will share with you where she funded hers out of what was available. And then there's some other areas that are possible. One is academic support services, and then some other things related to transferability that might help. It's just a source that may be helpful to you as you look for what you're trying to do. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these various programs. Title I is Title I schools. Title II is the whole district. Title I-C and Title I-D are very focused. They focused on very specific populations. Title III is a particular population they have to worry about. Title IV-A is one that's very open and very flexible in terms of what's there. And then, of course, you're familiar with Section 31A and Section 41 bilingual. Again, 31A is at-risk kids only. Section 41 is bilingual kids. So just a quick overview that you might find helpful. Quick thing, I went in and pulled some of the information from some MDE memos that you're going to have access to. These next couple of slides are from the March 27 memo, and it talked about new flexibility for technology using primarily Title I and Title IV. And let me just quickly talk about those things that are there. And I pulled out the ones that I thought were most appropriate. For example, it said you could use Title I funds to purchase hotspots or other internet access tools for students. That's new. Title I funds may be used to purchase devices for teachers' use to support student learning. That's new flexibility. That might be where IDEX could fit in for somebody. And then Title I funds can be used to purchase student devices and other related materials. Again, continued allowability. These are things, this memo was really referring to what is I'll call the emergency amendment. That you're able to amend your 2019-2020 plan in an emergency fashion. That amendment is due by June 5th. And Title II funds. This is where you can get funds to support training for educators. and particularly on connecting with students virtually. Continued allowability, not really pushed. And you could also use this for virtual training for staff. And again, it needs to be linked to your district improvement plan. And then an area that's open is Title II funds may be used to purchase devices needed to support the teacher trainings. And the fact that you could transfer Title II funds to Title IV to support learning using technology. Again, that's been allowed, but it's not been there. Emergency thing, it's something you'd want to link it somehow to COVID-19 and how this will allow you to do things better and faster and quicker, okay? Title IV funds, probably for most of you, the most flexible funds that you'll have in the federal funds. It can be used as to expand and support technology for devices, access, and materials for students and teachers. And then the idea of safe and healthy learning and opportunities may be supported through technology. This one allows you to purchase more, exceed the 15% limit normally applied for technology in Title IV. Basically what they're having you do is instead of listing that as a technology purchase, if it's about safe and healthy learning opportunities, you're going to fund it under that particular one of the triads for that. So that's pretty straightforward. CARES funds. This was in May 7th. Again, these are the most flexible of the funds that you're going to have. However, it's a one-time appropriation, will not be ongoing funding. The department has strongly recommended that districts reflect carefully about best uses, particularly given technological needs, efforts to preserve their staffing, and services to children in a challenging financial environment. Now, I went through a CARES and pulled out, I consider there's like, I don't know, 14 or 15 different possible uses you could use. I pulled out ones that I felt were appropriate and aligned with what you might want to do. This one is the broadest one. Any activity authorized by the ESEA of 1965. That's basically every program that was in that authorization. Whatever's in there, if you want to use CARE to do those things, you can. If anybody's been into the application changed from a couple days ago to today. What used to be a short statement in the assurances is now, it looks like 2 pages listing all the programs and what you might do, which is kind of interesting. The third one was providing principals and other school leaders with the resources necessary to address the needs of their individual schools. Boom, there it is. Number 9, purchasing educational technology, hardware, software, and connectivity for students who are served, and subsequent interaction between students and their classroom instructors. I can see, for example, PRISM being used to help a teacher keep track of how individual kids are doing and identifying which kids need extra help, who gets an extra Zoom room, if you will. And then finally, the last one, this one relates to planning and implementing activities for summer learning and supplemental after-school programs. And this is pretty wide open. The people that I talked to that have gotten these back quickly, basically what they did when they wrote their plan, they grabbed one of these listed activities and put it in their plan, and then attached the budget that they needed to do that. So that's just a hint that it's really been working well. And I think that's it for me.
That's good.
Okay.
That's good. A quick question for you, Sam. Are there any publicly available list of funds that we could access, that IDEX could access, to maybe help districts identify if there's funds that they haven't used in any of these title buckets?
Oh, actually, they can. You don't have access to it, but they do. They can go in and check in makes. Megs Plus, and they can see what's there. Now, there is a place that you can go to the school state aid and find out about your 31A, how much you've received and how much your next payment will be.
Okay.
But that's built right into Megs Plus.
Okay. Any questions by anybody right now?
No questions at this time, Doug.
Okay. Okay. So why don't we move right into Jill, Assistant Superintendent of Federal Programs and a Federal Programs Director at Comstock Park. Jill, do we have you on here still?
Yes, I'm here.
All right.
And Doug, she's at Comstock, not Comstock Park.
Oh, I put Park. That's right. I didn't find, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Make that mistake. Yeah, Jill.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me today. I don't have a lot to offer, but I will say that IDEX has been very beneficial for our district, and especially for me in my role with looking at data, presenting data, and providing data to principals. We have been able to fund it through Megs Plus. We fund it through Title I. We could also fund it through Title II or Title IV. We use function code 221. That's what works best for us with the verbiage of purchase IDEX to analyze data to improve instruction. Those of you that complete the MEGS grant every year, you know the characters are limited. So you can't put a big explanation as to how you're going to use IDEX. It has to be very simple. And so that is how we've had ours approved. But it's been very helpful to look at the data at the student level, the teacher level, the building level, and the district level. And IDEX just does all the work for us. So it's very nice.
That's great.
Jill, are you building that? Have you also built that into your building plans and your district plans so that it shows where you're using it?
It is currently just at our district level plan. I hope to continue to push it out to the building level plans. Right now, our buildings use it, but it's all provided by me to the building principals, and then they push out just the summative type of information.
Did that get reviewed by your regional person to make sure that it was there so that it could be then paid for?
Yes, Gail Green is our compliance person for our title funding, and she approved it.
So not only did it had to be in your plan, but then you had to show where you were expending those funds so that those dollars could get reimbursed, correct?
Sure.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Any other comments by anybody? Chris, you all set on your side?
I think I am. I just, wanted to thank both Jill and Sam for their help with this. It does appear that there's going to be dollars, these CARE funds. They're somewhat limited. They have to be some around, the CARES funds have to be around COVID activities. So building it into your plan and using data as students re-enter and we start to make those decisions about filling the gaps for the kids, the gaps between the kids based on what happened in this remote learning and the summer period. It's going to be critical for us. And so we're equipped and ready to go to help districts with that. And if you want some of our assistance, I'm sure could help you get to Sam or to Jill if you have specific questions to answer so that you can again find ways to use those funds to help offset the cost of IDEX.
Good. Well, in closing, thank you guys. We wanted to make these kind of seminars or webinars we're doing. We like to kind of make them short and succinct and sweet, but give people the the information that we think that they really need. So thank you guys for your time, and thank you for everybody else that showed up. So we are going to have another one that's scheduled in a number of days, and I think this is probably recorded as well. So, but we're available just with a phone call or an email to help anybody else to kind of work through this process. So. Thank you very much. Bye now.
Thanks, guys.